A very warm welcome to you. Many thanks for finding time to join us on this week's edition of Almond Finance and Wealth Report. We remain your source for all the latest happenings in the world of business. My name is Lucy Olugbe. On the lineup this week, first we join Faith and our guest, Professor Segun Ajibola, a professor of economics at Babcock University, on the CEO rendezvous for the continuation of the exclusive session on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the economy, the banking sector in perspective. Speaking in the course of the interview, Professor Ajibola said that banking is service to the economy, but unfortunately, today banking is competing with other sectors of the economy. Do take a listen.
Banking is service to the economy, but banking itself today is competing with other sectors of the economy.
On this edition, also, we will bring you highlights of the investiture ceremony of Sir MUFTAU OYEGUNLE as the 50th president of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria that took place recently at Civic Center, Lagos. Speaking virtually at the ceremony, the First Lady of Ogun State, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, said that Sir OYEGUNLE's leadership will help in launching a new era in the Nigerian insurance industry. Do take a listen.
50 is a milestone for people and for organizations. This is a time when the global insurance industry is grappling with the pandemic, including disruptive technological and economic changes. I do believe that your leadership will help in launching a new era in the industry as you work to influence the future of insurance in our country.
Plus, of course, all the other extras we bring you each week on the program. What can I say than to urge you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the lineup. Details in just a moment. Please stay with us.
It does appear in this economy, we get what experts like you are saying, that banks are desperate they're looking for borrowers all over the place. But oftentimes when you sound bite those in the manufacturing sector, what the national anthem is, the Nigerian banks, they are not interested in giving anybody credit facility. They are not interested in lending money. So who is deceiving who? Pretty much kind of situation.
You see, what the operators in the real sector of the economy often fail to appreciate is that money will not answer all their questions. When I say money, that is bank loans. In fact, in a recent study, somebody listed funding in order of importance as number 6 problem of micro, small to medium enterprises, and that is where much of the complaints about inadequate funding, inadequate loans usually come from. What of power? What of security? What of other infrastructure? What of ease of doing business? What of multiple charges by way of taxation or whatever name or alias? These are problems. Some of us have proposed in the past that all these problems must be put in a basket and solved together as a package, not solving them in silos. There are some businesses, give them money free of charge, 0 interest rate, they still cannot make it, because the problem confronting them go beyond naira and kobo. So when they are complaining about banks are not supporting them with loan, let's go a bit back and look at the records. Even the loans banks were able to give out in those years, what happened to them? Banks were in this environment some 15-20 years back asked to have equity stake, not even loan now, equity stake in some small businesses. Where is that scheme today? It went moribund because it never worked, because the problems were far beyond money. So as the borrowers from banks are complaining, let them also complain about other problems. Let all those other problems be resolved simultaneously. Then the loans flowing to them from the banks will have meaning, will achieve results. And don't forget, banks are not charitable institutions. They are mere managers of liabilities. Anybody with deposit in any bank, irrespective of the story, will want the money back. What if the bank had gambled with that money out of desperation to give out loan? So loans are to support bankable projects. They are not given out of sentiments, out of emotions, and out of regulatory compulsion. When we go along this route, we make mistake as an industry. We make mistake as an economy. And many of such mistakes have been made in the past. What led to the crisis of early 1990s? Bad loans. What led to the problem of 2008, 2009? Bad loans. Have we not learned from our lesson from history?
Okay, so Prof, if we've had these things that have happened in the past, in the 90s, early 2008, 2009 that you talked about, this is 2020 and it's still the same problem. The figures, as you said, is even underreported by given the statistic that is coming out from the Central Bank of Nigeria. So my question therefore is, what is it that the banking sector have not learned when it comes to the issue of non-performing loans?
There are banks that are always very desperate for the bottom line. They want to make profit, they want to show the shareholders, make the shareholders happy. And by extension, other stakeholders in the business of banking in this environment. Incidentally, about 60-70% of a bank's balance sheet, the asset side, about 60-70% is made up of loans. So loan happens to be the highest income yielding asset to any bank. So any bank that wants to earn as much as possible and declare profit cannot run away from giving out loans. So there are banks that still run after very, very profitable, very profitable loan proposals, but at the expense of quality of the loan, at the expense of shareholders' funds. So the banks, like I said, banks will earn the income today and bear the brunt in another 4-5 years' time, when those loans become toxic. So it's like history continues to repeat itself. Banks want to earn so much. Even government is waiting for tax that will be payable out of the declared profit by banks. Shareholders are waiting, creditors are waiting, everybody is waiting. And it's only when the language is right, profit, that at the annual general meeting, they will clap for the management of such banks. So it's like everybody is conscious of all this, and some wants to play safe by not wanting to offend the stakeholders. So let's see how we can manage the situation. And in managing the situation to look good, they run themselves into problems. One big ticket transaction can sink a bank. So these are some of the problems. We've been making this problem since even before independence, since the 1950s. And I have not seen any major deviation from that path, except that today, access to information, then the regulators are more up and doing. There are rules and regulations, there are laws that forbid some untoward practices in the business of banking.
Okay, sir, as Prof, as someone who's had decades of experience when it comes to lending in the banking sector, what do you see as the trigger for people who go are borrowing from the banks and for some reason they just decide not to pay back?
Well, in reviewing customers' proposal, we were taught in those days that the number one thing you look out for is the character of the borrower. If the character is not right, nothing else can be right. If the character is not right and you take collateral, it will beat you to it. So, character, and how do you know character? There will always be track records. You can always carry out your check-ins, what we used to call bank check-ins, and so on and so forth. trade check-ins. You can always do this. If it's even much easier today because the world is just one global village. So you can get somebody's trade partners in Singapore, in America, here and there. You can carry out a check on somebody. But either due to inadequate training, which is a major challenge for us in the industry, that you first people with responsibilities they've never been trained to handle. So poor analysis of credit proposal. Like I said, good credit proposals recommend themselves. You don't look out for them. So the desperation often leads to lots of mistakes in identify who and who to accept into a bank as a borrowing customer. And when that is there, you are bound to make mistakes. Then that has not been helped by the imposition now that you must lend at least 65% of your deposit, failing which you are heavily penalized, you are heavily sanctioned. So you now see situation where banks, I receive messages on my phone almost on a daily basis. Just press this, 100,000 is already in your account, 200,000 is already in your account. Based on what? Have I approached you that I need 200,000? So if you give me and I apply the 200,000 to watch Gelete or play Kalu, how will you now blame me the following day that I've not been able to pay back? Because you never assess my need and capability to pay before asking me. You just saw some numbers. This to be. So we have watered down standards. Banking is a conservative profession, and like Lord Dennis said of the law profession, that is service to God, service to humanity. Banking is service to the economy, but banking itself today is competing with other sectors of the economy. So you see banks that want to declare the highest profit in the economy, wants to beat MTN in terms of profit, wants to beat Nigerian buildings in terms of banking provides services. In the process of providing services, you earn your living and you declare profit and you return some things to your investors. But when you are now competing for position among yourselves, competing for position among other players in other sectors of the economy, you are bound to become desperate.
Okay, Prof. It's amazing how you talked about this, the regulator, the role of the regulator in all of this, pegging 65% of bank operation have to go out for as loan, and it's this same regulator that will come out to say, oh, non-performing loan is this much, given the statistic that they just rolled out. Now, the CBN recently also brought out, well, a new policy, introduced a new policy, which is a global standing instruction to curb serial loan defaulters in some of the banks. Now, this new policy of the central bank, do you think, given your experience in this sector, it is the cure for this non-performing loan in the banking sector?
I commend Central Bank of Nigeria for coming out with that initiative. You know, we have over the years been struggling in this environment to devise a means of checkmating what I would call serial defaulters in borrowing business. We've toyed with the idea of credit risk management bureau, which was in Central Bank. We also have the credit bureau system in the environment today, which provides data about customers. So when you approach, you know that customer is borrowing from ABC and is indebted to this. Then you will be able to take an informed decision whether this is a candidate for borrowing purpose in your bank or not. But either because of inadequacy or inaccuracy of data and so on, those schemes have not achieved the desired result as much as possible. So with GSI now, what is it saying? You borrow from bank A, you are a depositor in bank B. You can't continue to rob Peter to pay Paul. So we will consolidate your accounts. So it's like automatic right of setup. We will consolidate your accounts. So when you are owing A, we will take money from B where you have money to pay A. Then we will know your net position, whether it's debit or credit. Very, very wonderful initiative, and we must commend the sincerity of the leadership of Central Bank in thinking out that they could even think of it at all is good enough for our environment. It sends out some signals, some messages, but then
implementation.
When it comes to implementation, which has been a major challenge for us in this environment, are we going to be very sincere and honest in doing all this and cooperating? Because as a practicing banker, I was always on the field. I was not. I played the role of a front office person, from officer to directorate level. I always found myself in the front office desk. You see banks that will help customers to even hide the information. So I hope when the implementation starts, ABC Limited in 3 banks, one of the banks will not turn to XYZ Limited overnight to say let's do something, so that they won't be able to identify that it's you that owns this account. And that is why I also like one of the professors in the GSI. Any misleading information will be heavily sanctioned by the authorities. So if somebody is not owing you and you are saying it's owing you, and based on your submission is wrongly debited in another bank, and they now discover that in actual fact it's not owing you, it's sanctioned. If somebody holds deposit in bank A and you are saying he doesn't have money with you, and they now discover, you'll be heavily sanctioned. If we can faithfully implement the provisions of DGSI, I think there will be more sanity in this environment when it comes to business of lending and borrowing.
Alright, welcome back. Moving on, we now bring you highlights of the investiture ceremony of Sir M.O. OYEGUNLE as the 50th president of the CIIN. The event, which was low-key because of the COVID-19 pandemic, was well attended by dignitaries both within and outside the insurance industry, physically and virtually. Happy viewing.
The Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, CIIN, was established in 1959 and recognized by law in 1993 via Act No. 22. The institute has a statutory duty of determining the standards of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become insurance professionals in Nigeria. The institute affairs is directed by the Governing Council, chaired by an elected president. The institute, recently in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, installed its 50th president and chairman of council, Sir MUFTAU OYEGUNLE, in a low-key event to reflect the reality of the time we are in at the Civic Center, Victoria Island. In his welcome address, the immediate past president of the institute, Mr. Eddie Efekoha, said that he is confident that the new president will excel in office.
I believe you are adequately prepared and ready for the task ahead. As someone I have come to know and relate with very closely at the Institute, a man many have described to be very respectful, intelligent, calm, humble, and hardworking, I am confident that by the grace of God, you will excel and indeed raise the bar during your tenure of office.
Delivering his keynote address virtually, the Commissioner for Insurance, Mr. Sunday Thomas, said that the Institute must embrace technology as one of its key drivers for development.
More than ever before, the Institute must embrace technology as one of its key drivers for development. The Institute should be prepared to digitalize its processes, procedures, and systems in order to make its operations seamless and real-time. As a professional institute, your communication and engagement with other stakeholders cannot be encumbered by disruption to physical interactions. I want to challenge the new leadership of the Institute to make this a priority in its agenda. Of course, training and deliberate exposure of existing members of the Institute to new technology will also go a long way in reshaping their perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, public perception of insurance business still remains very low, largely due to unacceptable professional conduct of very few of our members. The Institute has a pivotal role to play in rebranding and reshaping ethical behavior of members in order to ensure that every member is the true representative of the core values of insurance profession in Nigeria.
Sir OYEGUNLE, nicknamed by friends as the Backbone, began his insurance journey in 1985 as insurance superintendent in Leadway Assurance Company Limited, where he rose through the ranks until he retired from the company in 2013 after 28 years of meritorious service to manage his private business. With the brief speeches taken, past presidents of the Institute, to the admiration of friends and well-wishers, physically present and virtually, witnessed the investiture of Sir OYEGUNLE as the 50th president of CIIN.
Yes, let's have a feel of the sax, please. Yeah. Let the applause be resonating. Let the applause go on, please. Wow.
So, Sir OYEGUNLE, you are called upon to take the oath of office as the 50th president of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria. You will now say after me. I,
MUFTAU OYEGUNLE,
a Nigerian, fellow of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria,
fellow of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria,
having been duly elected as president of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, do hereby solemnly swear
I do hereby solemnly swear
and state on oath as follows. That I promise to serve the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria as the president in accordance with the provisions of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria Act number 22
of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria Act number 22
of 1993 and other regulations and others of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, that I shall always conduct myself and maintain a high standard of professional behavior in the discharge of my duties as the president of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, in adherence to the ethics and regulations guiding the profession of insurance in Nigeria, that I will always promote the image of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, in particular, and the insurance profession generally, that I make this solemn declaration in utmost good faith. So help me God.
With the oath of office taken, Sir OYEGUNLE informed the august gathering that the theme of his tenure will be reinforcing professionalism and ethics in the new order.
The theme and focus of my tenure will be reinforcing professionalism and ethics in the new order. The choice of the theme is born out of the need to establish a rolling plan which will guarantee that even in the face of current global uncertainties, the Institute will continue to meet the needs of members. Against this background, we are going to explore the potentials of this approach by focusing on 6-point agenda: digital transformation of the Institute, reinforcement of the relevance of professionalism, re-energizing the Institute's administrative structure, insurance awareness and youth mentorship initiatives, infrastructural development, advocacy and collaboration with various associations in the private sector.
Leading the goodwill messages were Doyen of Insurance, Olola Bode Ogunlana, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, the First Lady of Ogun State, and a host of others who joined virtually. Sir OYEGUNLE is a well-grounded, versatile and seasoned professional. As he takes the mantle of leadership as the 50th president of the CIIN, especially at this critical time in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, that he will put his best foot forward to bring about the desired change in the operations of the Institute.
And that's our time on the program this week. Many thanks for being a part of it. Join us again, same time, same station next week for a fresh package. In the meantime, feel free to connect with us on all our social media platforms. My name is Lucy Olugbe. Please stay safe. Bye-bye.